In the history of warfare, there are names we all know: Napoleon, Caesar, Alexander, but they all have one thing in common. Eventually, they lost. Napoleon lost at Waterloo. Caesar was assassinated. Alexander's empire crumbled. But there is one man who stands alone. A man who fought in over 100 major battles and never lost. Not even once. He fought against the superpowers of his time, the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire, often at the same time. And he crushed them both. He broke 9 swords in a single battle because he was hitting the enemy so hard. The Prophet Muhammad gave him the ultimate title, the Sword of Allah. His name was Khalid bin Walid. Today we analyze the tactics of the greatest military genius the desert has ever produced. The story has a twist. Khalid did not start as a hero of Islam. He started as its enemy. He was a noble of the Quraysh tribe in Mecca. He was born for war. While other kids learned poetry, Khalid learned how to ride horses through sandstorms. At the Battle of Uhud, the Muslims were winning. The Quraysh army was retreating. But Khalid saw a mistake. I saw that Muslim archers had left their position on a hill, disobeying orders to chase after loot. Khalid didn't panic. He waited. He gathered his cavalry. And in a split second, he circled around the mountain and attacked the Muslims from behind. He single-handedly turned a defeat into a victory for Mecca. He was the only man who ever managed to defeat a Muslim army led by the Prophet. That is how dangerous he was. Years passed. Khalid watched the rise of Islam. He realized this was not just a rebellion. It was a divine truth. In a shocking move, he traveled to Medina and converted. The man who once tried to kill the Prophet now bowed to him. His first test came at the Battle of Mu'tah. It was a suicide mission. Muslims against 200,000 Romans, Byzantines. During the fight, all 3 Muslim commanders were killed one by one. The army was about to be slaughtered. The soldiers handed the flag to Khalid. He knew he couldn't win, so he had to survive. That night, he ordered his soldiers to switch positions. He put the left flank on the right and the right on the left, told the rear guard to drag branches in the sand to create huge dust clouds. The next morning, the Romans saw new faces and huge dust clouds. They thought, reinforcements have arrived. They were terrified. Khalid slowly retreated his army without losing a single man. It was a tactical masterpiece. It was here that he broke 9 swords in his hand. But his greatest achievement was yet to come. The Battle of Yarmouk. Yes. This battle changed the world map forever. The Byzantine Emperor Heraclius gathered a massive army. Historians estimate between 80,000 to 150,000 heavily armored soldiers. Khalid had only roughly 25,000 men. He was outnumbered at least 4 to 1. The battle lasted 6 days. On the final day, Khalid unleashed a storm. He noticed a gap between the Roman infantry and their cavalry. He launched his own mobile guard into that gap, cut off the Roman cavalry, and chased them away from the battlefield. Now, the Roman infantry was alone. They were trapped against a deep ravine. Khalid had captured the only bridge across the ravine the night before. The Romans had nowhere to run. They were pushed off the cliffs. The superpower of the world was destroyed in one afternoon. Syria, Jerusalem, and Palestine fell to Islam. Khalid was at the peak of his glory. People began to praise him more than they praised God. They thought victory came from Khalid, not from Allah. The Caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab, saw this danger. He made a tough decision. He fired Khalid. He sent a letter to the army saying Khalid was demoted to a regular soldier. Imagine that. The undefeated general fired. Most men would rebel. They would take the army and attack the capital. But Khalid. He read the letter, kissed it, and put it on his head. He said, "I fight for the Lord of Umar, not for Umar." He went back to the front lines and fought as a common soldier. This showed his true character. He wasn't fighting for fame. He was fighting for faith. Spent his whole life seeking martyrdom. He wanted to die on the battlefield. But destiny is funny. The man who sent thousands to their graves could not find his own death in war. He died in his bed in Homs, Syria. On his deathbed, he showed his body to his friend. It was covered in scars. He said, "I have fought in so many battles. There's no spot on my body that doesn't have a scar from a sword, a spear, or an arrow. And yet here I am dying on my bed like an old camel. The eyes of the cowards never sleep." He died undefeated. The sword of Allah could not be broken by any man. It could only be sheathed by God himself.